Hello and welcome to Freedom March. I'm Levan Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to 103.5 FM, The Beat, for those of you that are joining us there. Or for those of you that are joining us on channel 224 or on channel 112, that's on cable and on Flow, or on ILTV Studios on Facebook. Or if you're joining us on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us over there as well. So there are a number of things that are happening in and around town today. Of course, most notably among them for us over here at Freedom March is the lying in state of the late, great Senator, the Honorable Rodney Moncur, who, believe it or not, in my view, looks like a person that has finally gotten the rest that they deserve. I saw him there today as he lie in state, and all I could think to myself is this must be what it looks like when men of war put down their instruments of war and go to receive their reward. In my view, he looks better now than I ever imagined him looking, and I would even go as far to say that he looks better today than I ever remember him looking at any other time that I had seen him. And so I believe it is rest from toil that has him looking so peaceful as he laid there today in state. And so for those of you that are wondering, the funeral will be tomorrow. It is at 11 o'clock. It is a state-recognized funeral. We will talk about that a little bit more in this show today. But before we get deeper into that, I see that the Prime Minister is still defending the statement about creatives and that sort of stuff in the media. And my hearing that only makes me think one thing, that I must on this show extend my congratulatory remarks to Madam Commissioner of Police, because her efforts are obviously keeping the murder rate down. I can tell that the murder rate must be down because I can't imagine that this is all reporters can find to have or make news stories about, right? I cannot believe that 1 week almost later, news reporters and people that went to school to get journalism degrees are still chasing a prime minister with an investment in Grand Muhammad that has recently been made, with talks about land reform being talked about, with a leaked list of prospective candidates, and I'm going to talk about that at some point in this show. And all we can ask the prime minister about is, what did he mean when he said that Michael Pintard had no other job? To that, I would say, Mr. Prime Minister, if I were your Director of Communications, I would retract that statement. And then I would ask, well, how many NIB contributions does he have? How long has he contributed to NIB? And who exactly was on the employer side of those contributions? We'll talk about that. Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to 103.5 FM The Beat, or maybe you're listening to us on channel 224112, whether that's on cable or on Flow TV, or if you're listening to us over on ILTV Studios on Facebook, we say thank you for being with us. Bradley Roll is in studio with me, the spiritual advisor. Bradley Roll, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Divine. Good to be here, man.
Good to have you. Sweltering. That's what outside is.
Yeah. It's heating up.
Goodness and mercy shall follow me.
It's heating up every day.
Yeah. So we moseyed over to the Senate.
Yeah.
We saw our beloved Rodney Moncur. And you've heard my words about him. You have any words?
Yeah, he looks great. And you know, the thing about when you go to view a body, and especially if you're close to that person, I've been doing that now over the last year at least. That's my father, my sister-in-law, Rodney, my uncle, fourth person. And it always strikes you that this is it.
Yeah. Finality.
Yeah.
Where humans end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
And so you think about what flashes through your minds is the best memories of them. And then you also think about maybe the last time you may have encountered or spoken with them.
Yeah.
And now you see them here lying still
Yeah.
in a casket. And you say to yourself, wow.
And the only thing missing is breath, you know.
That's something just...
He still has both of his hands.
Yeah.
Still have both of his feet.
His body's still there.
Yeah. Only thing missing is breath.
Yeah. And God breathed into man the
And
breath
man
of life.
became.
And man became a living soul. And see, here's why, for all you critics out there, here's why I trust the Bible. Because it all boils down to this. As the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith, if it does not have works. We'll forget about that latter part, but the former part of the passage says the body without the spirit is dead. And that's the truth.
Indeed.
So that night around 12:45, when Rodney grasped for his last breath, his soul and spirit left his body.
Wow.
And as a result of that, he became lifeless as we now have before us.
Indeed.
And it makes you really think about life. And guess what? This just transcends everything we know about life, every position that you may hold, whatever your classification is in this society, how much money you have, or how poor you are, how middle class you are. This transcends all of that. And the reality is where Rodney is today.
Wow.
Each of us will be one day.
Indeed.
And that's something that we must think about. So, you know, what do we do with this life to make a positive impact? So the dash in between when we are born and we die, just make sure we, you know.
What do you do with the dash?
Yeah.
Sounds like about this sermon.
That dash is a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm here to get you to understand. And today we're going to look at the cost of being a disciple, because I believe, this is my belief now, I mean, you don't have to accept this. I believe that when you lay up for yourselves treasures for the other side, it is eternal.
Wow.
Because everything here is just temporal. It's for a while.
Wow.
And then it comes to the end. And so I'm trying to convince folks to get themselves a red Bible.
Yeah.
And let's look at these philosophies and teachings of Jesus and see if you accept them, if there's some reward, not only in this life, but of course the life to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw Rodney today. He looks very well. I must give my congratulations to Decent Loretta Butler Turner and Butler's Funeral Home and Crematoriums. Listen, y'all look like y'all taking this thing to another level. I saw the vehicle that is carrying Rodney's casket. That looked like something out of the future.
Yeah. No, it was glorious.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful vehicle. But Rodney is being buried in a very fashionable way. Of course, a state recognized.
That stood out to me. Not to forget the state recognized piece. I thought to myself, well, I'm no carpenter, but I said it looks like cherry oak.
Yeah. That casket is. Oof.
And I will tell you this, you know, I don't know plenty poor people whose shoes I could see when they dead.
Yeah, he's laying out, and you can see everything, and he's neatly dressed. Everything looks perfect.
It is fantastic, actually. Like
everything is just.
If we was in English, then people would say that's a big to-do month. if you could see
Yeah.
a man's shoes when he died. So I thought two things when I went to visit Rodney today. I said, when Jesus back, we could see Rodney's shoes.
And
You know how much people you know that die and you don't know if they had shoes on or not?
No.
Yeah. So his jewelry box is a full jewelry box.
Yeah, his casket is it's
Yeah.
completely open. It's an open casket.
Yeah. And then the second thing I thought about today, I said, this is an actual interesting place to be in humanity or in human life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I recall the election of 2021 in this very building. The management tried this thing where they wanted to have a power pack show, right? And in that lineup was Darrell Miller, Rodney Moncur, Philip Galanis, Loretta Butler Turner, and Levin Miller. And I said to myself, well, I don't know who exactly is taking the roster, but I feel like whether we calculate it by age or by beauty, Loretta Butler Turner should have me in the bag if they taken off the roster. So I don't know. So roster keeping poison. I just will let you know. Philip Galanis was there, Darrell Miller was there, Rodney Moncur was there, and while Levin Miller was there, I want to let y'all know that Loretta Butler Turner was also there with me for whoever is keeping the roster that I can't see. All right? So, but that was a very sobering thing for me when I sat there and I stood there, and I looked at Rodney lying there in state in the Senate.
He looks great.
Yeah.
He looks great.
And today I think that he galvanized his position as Prince of the Poor. I heard the Prime Minister lean toward that, and then he tried to talk about people that are poor in spirit and all that kind of stuff. And I get that. When the Bible said, when Jesus said that the poor you will have with you always, he didn't mean money. He means some people, they got poor ways, they got poor spirit, they got poor attitude. So the poor will be amongst you always. But today, the common man, that definition of the poor, I think Rodney will go down in eternity. Today, the man I saw laying there as Prince of the Poor. And that made me feel very good. Yeah?
Yeah.
You got Holy Scripture for us today?
Yeah, we're gonna look at the cost of being a disciple. Is there a cost? Because a lot of folks think that there's no cost to being a disciple. But let's see what Jesus has to say. In the book of Luke, the 14th chapter, a couple of verses I'm going to read. And I normally use this NIV, which is the New International Version. I basically use it because of its clarity and wording. It may not be a perfect translation, but its clarity. I just like the way the English is broken down, the way for you to easily understand it, versus the 1611 King James translation. And so large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Producer? Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, this person began to build and was not able to finish. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? And if he's not able, he will send a delegation while the others is still a long way off and ask for terms of peace. In the same way, those of you who do not give up everything you have, you cannot be my disciple.
Wow.
Very powerful lesson indeed. Luke chapter 14, 25 to 33. The word of God is forever and ever blessed.
Indeed.
Amen. Thanks so much, Producer.
There you have it. So give up everything. You know who like living house? Y'all can't be disciple of Jesus, boy. That's a Paul say.
I don't know if you meant it that way.
Paul say, brethren, I wish y'all could be like me. Paul, I take no concern for what I will eat. I take no concern for what I will wear I take no concern for my own life. I take concern for one thing, that is the knowledge of Christ. That's what Paul said.
He says that.
I can't fool with Paul in that. That's where me and Paul, we got to go two separate ways right there.
Well, everybody have their own
advisor-
gift from God, my brother.
Yeah, because spiritual advisor, I take very much concern for what I shall eat and wear. I can't fool with Paul in that.
But I think the lesson is that there's some things that are near and dear to us that we don't
Like what
say.
I will eat and what I will wear.
Well, listen, if you want to become a disciple of Christ, Jesus strikes a very balanced message.
Yeah.
You will have to wear, you will have to eat, you will have to find some place to live.
Yeah.
But when it comes to service and the way you interact with your brothers and sisters and the way you worship God, there are standards by which you are called to do that.
Okay.
And if you have anything that's going to hinder you from that, then that's a problem.
All right. Well, thank you for
That's
spiritual
the issue.
advisor for Holy
Indeed.
Scripture.
Indeed.
And so, like I was getting into with Kaiser Michael Pintado one more time, because I don't know what is it going to take for them to get it together over there. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, since you can't ask which job Michael Pintado had, all you need to do is ask Michael Pintado to produce how many NIB contributions he's made, and then produce who in fact was on the employment side of those contributions, and that will give us a wonderful look into, because he may not even have enough contributions to run for Prime Minister. I don't know, is there NIB contribution minimum to be the Prime Minister? I don't know, but let's check. And I feel that these are like the kind of things that people should be allowed to check about you if you want to be in public life. Anyway, so outside of Michael Pintado and his time as an actor, I see that they appeared to have been a very leaky day. I see that there is a list of candidates, and put up the list of candidates, please, purported candidates and the constituencies which they will run in.
That's fake news.
Right? Yeah. It only fake news because you won't give us no other news. You could just tell us.
We don't know the source for this.
But fine. And in the absence of information, the imagination of men run wild. So all you need to do is fill our imagination in with information and reduce speculation. It's very simple. Wherever the magical names that appeared magically on this list with the magical constituencies, and I want to say I noticed that Abaco Wayne got 3 seats. The wind tell me Abaco's supposed to have 3 seats. I want to also say I don't see Central Andrews and Mangrove Key there, and Ingram say the people in Mangrove Key like to see their name on the ballot, so I know what y'all gonna do about that. And then I see y'all take Bimini and put it on Berry Island. I hope y'all don't kill Nabi, because now Nabi gotta go reprint all of his stuff, because he's called the thing Nabi, right? And y'all only leave him with Nah. That ain't gonna work. We gotta figure that out. Right? And then I see Ragged Island noticeably missing. So is it still Exuma and Ragged Island, or is it Long Island and Ragged Island? See, these are some things I need to figure out. But what we could do is remove the speculation. And you could just simply name the names.
You have nothing to go on because you don't know.
And then if you just name the names, you wouldn't have to guess if Mayani on the list or not, because I see that is also spinning around in the rumor mill. No, Mayani's name is not on the list. And I'll tell you why I glad Mayani name on the list, because none of y'all off limits, and I could curse all of y'all out. If Mayani was on the list, I would have couldn't curse out Mayani. But since y'all ain't put her name on the list, guess what? No one off limits, maybe Dwayne. Outside of Dwayne Sands, the rest of y'all, I should just curse till I get shortness of breath. Because if you leave this list for me to speculate, and y'all bunch of smart people name on the list, and none of y'all smart people say to your leader, hey leader, don't leave no room for speculation, just tell the people which names, then what you want me to do? Speculate.
Okay, so
which is what man does without information.
Okay.
And so, for God's sake, Michael Pintado, not for my sake, please, man, just name the names. I mean, is it like the lottery or something? We can't just have the names? Oh, boy.
So where did this list come from?
I don't care. But you know where it could have come from? The mouth of Michael Pintado. And then we wouldn't have this to talk about. And I would just get to my next point that I'd like to talk about. Can we talk about my next point? Remember the picture with all the women them? Put that back up.
Well, you can put the list. So let's look at it and see if it makes any sense.
Oh, boy.
For immediate release. Okay, they're probably leaders. The names.
Omar Isaac, never heard that name. Ricardo Grant, I know who that is. Darren Cooper, I know who that is. Charlene Reed, I ain't sure if I know who that is, because women has changed their name when they get mad at their husband. Michael Clifton Pintard. I know who that is. Frazette Gibson, never heard that person. Crazy Thompson is Minnis' nephew, and he come into the FNA. Oh, and I saw Lincoln Bain today.
Yeah.
Who I have invited. I have invited Lincoln Bain today to join the FNA. Let's see what happens. Dwayne Sands, we know who that is. Lincoln Deal, we know who that is. Brian Brown, we know who that is. Denley Penn Mackey, we know who that is.
Arinthia
Komalafi. Ah, boy. Michael Folks. Let me tell you, I don't think Michael Folks stands. I think Michael Folks stands about as good a chance against Pierre Glover rule as I stand in a freezer with the door open. The same amount of chance. The same amount of chance you have at ice forming in a freezer with the door open is about as much of a chance I think Michael Folks have against Pierre Glover rule. I don't think she could beat him. I think she could beat the daylights out of him. But that's just me. Michael Barnett Ellis in South Beach. Well, look at how that Miami name. I think Barker's role could beat the daylights out of Michael Barnett. Not just Peter. The Barker's role in the constituency that I live in, that does the things that I see him do in the constituency that I live in, I don't think she could. I can't even tell you why I would call the name Michael Barnett in South Beach other than to tell people about how bad Barker's Peter. Who else on this list? Carville McDonald. Okay, I know him. Ivan Thompson, have no clue who that person is. Miriam Emmanuel. This might be a fake list for true. This might be a fake list for true. And Elizabeth Ellsworth Johnson.
And this is how I know something's wrong with this, because from what I'm understanding, Ellsworth is fighting for his life just to get a nomination.
I also heard that Ramona Farquharson was supposed to come to South Beach, and I want to tell you all, that can't beat Barkas either. Let me tell you what could beat Barkas. Tanya McCartney. Anything other than that? No bueno, papi. ¿O comprende? Good. I'm going to read the rest of that list. What I say? Put in the picture with the woman them from yesterday, the bunch of women them. So yesterday we talked about women in politics. We're going to go to the break in a second. And we talked about how women in politics represented the electorate and how parties coming into politics had to prove that they were serious about adding serious women, and how those serious women had to ensure that, they weren't largely ornamental and that they could cut the mustard. Well, it's so regrettable that among this cadre of women, it's a woman that somehow always seems to find herself in what the English people would call a kerfuffle of sorts, or an imbroglio of sorts. And I mean, time after time after time after time, she just can't seem to avoid it. So I've got some words of encouragement for her when I get back on the next side of the break. Plus, I'm supposed to be joined by a special guest this afternoon, and we're going to talk a little bit about Rodney Moncur. We have all that and more for you right on the next side of the break.
This segment of Freedom March is brought to you by Modernistic Garden and Pet Supply. For top quality dog food, shop online at modernisticgarden.com or visit our Palmdale, Carmichael, and Mullet Marathon locations today.
Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you so much for joining us. Spiritual, take us to the ad.
Are your dogs hungry and tired of low-quality food? Give them the best at Modernistic. They carry all the top brands, Taste of the Wild, Diamond Naturals, Victor, and Uksha at the lowest price in town. If you're on a budget, we've got 50-pound bags starting at just $49. And for limited time, buy any large bag of dog food and get a $10 coupon redeemable on select dog toys and treats. If you can't make it in, shop online at www.modernisticgarden.com and we'll deliver right to your door. Your pet deserves quality, your wallet deserves savings. Shop in store or shop online today. Hurry, offer won't last. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Spiritual Advisor. Well, right before I introduce my guest, my special guest who is here to be sad with us today as we go to rest our friend, or lay our friend to rest, Rodney Moncur, I've got 2 more minutes of cussing people out to do. Put the picture back up with the 7 woman. We have it? 7 wonderful women that represent a range and a barrage of candidates and people that I think every political party that wants to put females into their cadre of candidates are either going to have to match or beat. So you're going to have everything in your cabinet, from a woman attorney to a possible woman policeman to a possible woman businesswoman to a possible woman, who else is in there? What is P? A businesswoman and I had a list yesterday. And then of course, like the opposition said, you might even need a hot dog woman in Patricia DeVoe. But again, like I said yesterday, when the opposition was taking this poor woman to task and calling her a hot dog woman, apparently that was fair game. Apparently there was no egos bruised there, and apparently it was okay for politicians to say that kind of thing about other politicians. So again, I don't understand why the leader of the opposition is so upset with the Prime Minister calling him an actor, and I think somewhere in the speech, a pirate, right? Well, at least he didn't call him a ventriloquist doll, because I would much rather be a pirate or an actor than to have someone, you get where I'm going with this. But among this cadre of women, there is a woman that somehow seems to have a lightning rod for controversy. And what I want to say to her, if she doesn't pay me for advice, so you could please feel free to tell me go and fly a kite. At some point, I think if women are going to be taken serious in politics, you've got to vet these circles a little better. Women in leadership are simply not allowed the leniencies that men in politics and leadership are allowed. So you've got to watch where you go. You got to watch who you go with. You got to watch who shows up when you're there. And sometimes, to steal a line from Denzel Washington, you got to make sure you leave 30 minutes before the devil pulls up. And so I see circulating in social media today, because like I said, today happens to be a leaky day. I saw this video, the one from the party. I saw this in social media, and I thought to myself, like, if I came into public life, one of the very first things I would do is have everyone on my team sign non-disclosure agreements and confidentiality clauses. This isn't the first time that something like this happened. This is like the second time. And while it is all clean fun and nothing is going on, what I have to admit is that it seems as if people have a low tolerance for her enjoying her personal life as somebody with a public office. Now, is there any unrighteousness there? I don't think so. But obviously, the trolls in social media make a hype about this kind of stuff. And as such, you have to make sure that you reduce it to what BJ Nottage would refer to as the irreducible minimum. And so, I say, Madam Minister, if you take any advice, because this isn't the first one, please take us to the other video clip.
Well, I thought the ad was political mischief, trying to sow seeds of discord and division in our Progressive Liberal Party. We have been focused over the last 3.5 years to really work and do a lot of the heavy lifting to fix the economy of our country and to provide better life for our people. And so that's been my focus. Every ministry I try to stay focused and avoid the distractions and get on with the work. I support the leadership of the PLP, and I had no dealings with that ad, and I did not consent for that to be printed. And so, unfortunately, it didn't do what they were expecting, because we're one team, we're working together to better the lives of Bahamians.
And that was her responding to an ad in the newspaper, a paid ad on a whole front page or wherever they publish it, that created this level of, I don't know what you would call it, but just fodder and chat that isn't in keeping with, you know, what the party's message is and what the party's mantra is. And so I often say to people, right, like sometimes in public life, you have to ensure that you vet your team well enough so that your team knows that when you are, in fact, simply letting your hair down and simply having what we called in my prior life a jolly, that these things do not make themselves or find themselves in public spaces, especially if you are a woman in public life. So that's time number 2. You ready for time number 3, producer? Take us to time number 3.
It's Wendy. What you know about it? Oh Lord, when it ain't one thing, it's another. Oh God, wanna come to me as a woman for it, good ain't good, and he ain't got a part to listen. Oh Lord, what a time. Well, ain't no sneaky link could ever take. She could try to step to me. Ain't no side chick could step to this or get the best of me. Side effects for the West man, I blame it on myself. Tell your sneaky link, come do a job for me. If she thinks she could do better, tell her come. If she think
I really like her punchline in her little celebratory mood, where she says, "Tell them come." I like it. It's from Wendy. Wendy's one of my favorite people. It just shouldn't find itself in the public domain, and that's why you've got to vet your team. That's the purpose of, you know, non-disclosures. That's the purpose of confidentiality clauses, etc., etc., etc. And as a woman in public life, you have to be very cautious of these kinds of things. Do we have the other video? Let's go to the third video.
Go.
Outfits from Fashion Nova, boots from UGG, earrings from Louis Vuitton, glasses from Tiffany's, watch from Rolex, ring from Mame, bracelet from Cartier.
And what we see are very intimate moments that simply shouldn't find themselves in the public domain. And so, Madam Minister, case me out. I'm comfortable with that. You don't pay me for advice. Tell me to go fly a frisbee. I'm comfortable with that. But all I'm saying is, I think it's time to check your team. Someone in there ain't waking up correctly. Is that enough of that? Okay, that's enough of that. So anyway, back to Rodney.
Well, before you move on, that last video was very interesting.
What about it?
And I can tell you, that's definitely a woman I can't afford. Rolex, Cartier, Tiffany.
Yeah.
What you trying to say, Spirit?
My man.
Why do you think you have to buy that for the woman?
That's the only way you can get a woman nowadays. Things.
See, stop that. Stop that. You have a professional woman. Why she can't buy her things for herself?
But you know what? When I saw that video, I defended that, Okay. Let me tell you what happened. If you look and you listen very carefully, it does seem as if that is an all-girls setting. And I believe it was totally innocent.
Really deep. Go ahead.
It was totally innocent. But guess what happened? it seemed as if it was a close inner circle of friends, all females, and somebody decided they was gonna leak that, and they leaked that to the wrong person.
And all I'm saying
And
is
that
spiritual.
went all over the place. When I first saw that, I said, man, listen, you know, if I was her, I would really examine the people who are around me very, very carefully and see which one I think is a weak link and not allow them to use their phone. Because obviously that video was shared, may have been shared innocently, and that went to the wrong person. And you don't know who got this thing about you or this thing about you, and they decide, man, I can just
I don't
leave this.
disagree. But I mean, if I learn one thing.
Chance.
You know what I mean?
Is there fair play, and this is a point that's made. If you see a fella in his boat, does anyone say that he shouldn't publicize that he have a boat?
I don't.
Or a car?
I don't.
Or as a lot of people do, they take a picture and they cross their hand and you see their watch head and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
Is the question, and I don't know that I'm saying it's the answer, but the question is, are different standards being used for
I would
men
say
and
yes, because I've stood in weddings before, and when I stood in the wedding, Minister, 9 women in this wedding, all in the bathroom together.
Yeah.
The men ran late because we have to bathe one man at a time. So you can't tell me that there are not different standards. There are, in fact, different standards.
But is that what we want for public life?
Well, I don't know. And this is where it becomes very tricky. Because, you know, a gentleman out on a balcony with a $200 bottle of scotch and a $40 cigar, I may think that's enough.
And he burning up $40.
That's my point.
Yeah.
You know, but some people just happen to be a lightning rod for controversy. And I'm saying that if that happens to be you, then you have to take mitigating steps to prevent being struck by lightning.
It depends, you know. When I was in the UK, I was a young conservative. And there was a politician who said he was upset if people weren't talking about him at least once a week.
Wow. I don't know. Well...
But that was his view. But he is a man now. You're talking about a woman.
And is that the appetite in this very Judeo-Christian conservative culture we have, or a purport anyway, right? Because 70% of the boys around here are unwed mothers. That don't really speak handsomely about our Christianity.
Right.
Notwithstanding.
About morality in particular.
70% of the boys in the Bahamas are mothers.
They're bastards. The children are bastards.
I don't know if I want to
70% of the children are born outside of marriage.
I don't know if I want to call them
So the
bastards.
Bible used the term bastard to describe them. They're not in the
So we
covenant.
are certainly
They're
Christians
outside the
that
covenant.
daily seek God's grace, right? Certainly all of the Christians in the Bahamas need God's grace, in my view, a little bit more than maybe some other Christians, right?
Okay. You know, I have had people run over this with me. I tell them David was a man after God's own heart. Solomon was there. Solomon had how many wives?
Indeed.
How many concubines?
Indeed.
But God still condemned it though.
Yeah, but how many did they have?
Yeah,
And they were still loved.
Yeah, by God.
So
He
those-
overlooked that until Christ came, and then we went back to the original plan. One man, one woman for life, eh?
Me and the spiritual.
Y'all take the sweetheart, no your mind.
I don't. I like Brother Moncur. I listen to him, and I smile, and now and again I engage with him.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know.
I think the book that I read specifically tell me the bishop and the deacon, and I have no desire to be any of those two things, a bishop or a deacon. And so I feel like the Bible tells me those two fellas should have one wife. I implore them to do that. Me, on the other hand, I have no desire to be a deacon. My daddy was a deacon. That's why he married my one mummy. And my granddaddy was a bishop. And that's why he married my one Grammy. And I don't need to do what they do. I could track my own
And
course.
gentlemen, from time immemorial, we've had a high percentage of births out of wedlock.
Indeed.
Do not deceive yourself that is something that is recent.
Oh boy. Well, thank God for
long
Ian
period
Wine
of
that
time.
he fixed the law. So if you're a Bahamian man and you like to have all your children with people that ain't your wife, have no fear. Ian Wine to say your baby could be a Bahamian. And I think he's a saved man for saying that.
And you know, Brother Moncur had something to do with that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I did that case, you know.
Wow. Yes.
That was the Rolls, whose mother was a Jamaican.
Yes.
And that was Pierre's, whose mother was a Haitian.
I remember the PS.
And Brother Moncur was responsible for saying, do that.
Wow. No, I remember.
And we
when
had
you guys won that
conversations.
case, when you guys won that case, who do you remember the judge that you were before?
Now that's out before Winder.
Right.
He was then Justice Winder,
Justice Winder.
and then we went to the Court of Appeal, who sat with 5 judges instead of 3.
Right.
Sir Michael Barnett and Evans, Milton Evans, ruled against Justice of Appeal Crane Scott, John Isaacs, and Jones.
Okay.
Roy Jones ruled in our favor, and then I got elected.
Yeah, then you were
and
Senate.
became government, and the matter traveled
But they
on
went
to the Privy Council. And
Right.
Bridget Ward, who was my junior, continued in the case.
Okay, and they came back with a ruling from the Privy Council that the ruling at the Supreme Court was correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
And you know the funny thing about it, Brother Moncur was supposed to interview the 2 little boys because that was a travesty in itself. He always railed against. They were deported contrary to an order of Justice Grant Bethel that they not be deported. And then we had a big production for them to come back, and then we did the DNA test, and it was like, who should have the DNA testing? Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
It was a Jerry Springer moment, and it was a 50-50 thing,
Oh, boy.
actually.
Yeah.
It was a 50-50
just rolling
thing.
the dice on it.
No, that's just how the result came out. One was, one wasn't.
Really?
Yeah. One was, one wasn't.
Well, you know, I always tell
And
people,
so the case carries forward for the one who wasn't.
I tell people often, Casey, that if we started paternity testing all the children born in the hospital, some of our Grammys would be a little less decent than others of ours, because plenty of people who born in the 70s can't explain their one light skin auntie with the soft hair. And none of Papa children look like that.
Yeah, that's
But-
our foolishness. The old people say if you feed a child long enough, he start to look like
Spiritual
you.
advisor told me that. Spiritual advisor.
Yeah, if you take them from long, they start
They
to
look
look
like
like
you.
That's true.
And your
That's
parents has
amazing.
put that, you have the Monroe hand
Yeah,
or foot or
you
that
see,
kind.
yeah. And they say,
It could be a Chinese baby, like Moncur say, but
yeah.
you know, he have the middle foot.
Mama, why honey, he is so soft? But you know, my great granddaddy was an Englishman. Mama don't know her daddy. You think she know her great granddaddy? Ah, boy. The folklore of the Bahamas is something special. So, Minister, I know Rodney Moncur was very special to you. We wanted to get you over here because we know that Freedom March actually, at some point, was Rodney Moncur and Wayne Monroe, and then there were
Spiritual. It was
And
always
it was-
spiritual.
right,
No,
right,
it was
right.
always spiritual.
no. So there were several iterations, is what you call it. So it was.
No, I would start at Sport Radio.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
would be,
CSR, 102.5.
CSR, I would pop in and
Right.
be a guest
Right.
now and again.
Yeah.
Because I met Brother Moncur actually in the Supreme Court Registry
Okay.
decades ago.
Okay.
Because, you know, he played lawyer too.
Yeah.
and,
played lawyer.
and legal assistant. And so I would pop into CS. I was always Rodney and spiritual.
Yeah. Right.
And then after he cuss out Sabaz and Sabaz come and he move here,
Yeah.
mind you, I tell him, and I tell Spiritual, don't negotiate no contract with Sabaz without me. Right?
Without the lawyer, yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Because now the one thing you can say about Sabaz Bastian is
Yeah.
he's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah, very, very,
And that's
very.
the way you like to see that in young black
Yeah, yeah,
businessmen, that they're shrewd, they're to the point, and they're businesslike.
Yeah.
And I know what we was can put on them, but you're not his spiritual advisor, eh?
That's right, I'm Rodney's spiritual advisor. See?
And-
And see?
I'm
You
glad I
see,
have
one,
you
see,
here.
one thing I like with Wayne. See, and guess what? I got the jump, you know. He didn't recognize what I was doing. I told the public, listen, I want to become the spiritual advisor for the
For the
Bahamas,
Bahamas.
right?
So I
Because
told
guess
him.
what? Rodney is dead now.
Yeah.
My job finished.
So I told him, spiritual.
I was
Casey,
Rodney's spiritual advisor.
that as a justice of the peace for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which I am, I want to draft an affidavit that he be recognized from this day forward as spiritual advisor, extraordinary, and plenipotentiary.
No.
And I just want to know if under which
No.
executive order can I get that done?
No, he'd have to just stay a spiritual advisor. He
boy.
can't be advising everyone.
I won't be like LeBron James. I
You
want
know
to take my talents. You
what
understand me?
Moncur
I want
and
to
I
take
have
this
to
higher
put on
now.
him is he run on with all his excellencies. and he had to admit,
Yeah.
finally we just put the Nicene Creed on him and he come back and he admit,
Okay.
yeah, that's a correct exposition of what Christians believe.
Okay, all right.
Having initially
Okay.
chastised us Catholics, Roman
Yeah.
and Anglo-Catholics over
Yeah.
it. So he got to just stay spiritual advisor.
Okay.
Now, he just stay essay.
Essay, that's it.
Don't elevate you. The Bible say they don't look for these things.
So no extraordinary. You see that spiritual? You should let's do this yesterday before the KC reached.
Yeah.
At least he would have had to go and do an amendment.
No. He sit there right where he is. Essay.
I just need to figure
But it was always Rodney and essay.
Yeah.
I just interloped for that period when
COVID hit and I got sick.
When Minister had us locked down.
Yeah.
And there was a period when I got sick too, and I had to be out.
COVID?
That's correct.
Yeah, I was hospitalized. Yeah,
That's
man.
correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I stayed out.
How come you so fat? Everybody white had COVID skinny.
I had COVID, so they say.
But you all had like the Magic Johnson
But
guy.
Wayne had the most expensive treatment you could ever get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What the name again? Not that expensive COVID treatment.
What's it called?
It was like no, was it? No, the other one. This was like must be $3,500 a shot or something like that.
That's not true. Yeah, let's come up with
Me and Rodney discussed that. Rodney said, man, we ain't getting the most expensive treatment in the hospital.
The way the Roma Mill works, right? The way the Roma Mill typically works spiritual advisors.
Wasn't Ivermectin?
You have to put the stories in the Roma Mill while the person ain't sitting there, but the spiritual advisor.
And Brother Moncur did it, and he did it well, right? It's called embellishment.
Yeah. Indeed.
Right? As Papa declared him in St. Joseph Church. Papa say he did tell him much of what Rodney say Papa tell him, but some of it was embellished. So I saw the bill. It was like $50 or $150 max, I think. But there was something scandalous about that I shared with Brother Moncur. But the beauty was that we sat when we were all locked down. And then I arranged with him to get with, what's the guy's name, to do the song.
Oh, with Marcus Louis? Lockdown Baby?
No.
Yeah, Lockdown Baby, Lockdown. With
Solo. Oh, okay.
And he was, people even forget he was a rock star. He was a rock star.
And he, not just song, he actually did more than
a video.
He got video.
Yeah, music video.
Most famous musicians don't have a video. Rodney have a video.
Professionally produced.
That's not this bad. How did he get to the point where he could volunteer legal services as somebody that was in counsel though? Like I remember there would be times when people would call him about their legal woes. And he would say, don't worry about that, we're going to move action in the court. And I said, why do these people keep letting Rodney set him up like this? No, but he would volunteer Wayne Monroe. And
he would call. You see, he's the sort of person who I took for granted that he would not be exploitative of you. He would not take too much of your time. He would be respectful of your time and all of that, right? So when he called for things, you would do it. I remember there's a clip circulating where he talking about this woman who locked up that he wants bring. And he didn't even know it was car wash.
Car wash, yeah.
And he'll sit there and he'll say, okay, we got a spring car wash.
And it happened.
And so a young Humes, who is a very bright lawyer now, he does the case, we spring car wash.
Yeah. It was a big spring too.
Yeah. And Daddy White's gonna come out the same time, but he withdrew his appeal.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
I remember when you guys sprung car wash.
He would have a sense of justice. So he'd say, she only supposed to chastise the boyfriend child, that's the boyfriend child, the girlfriend is to raise a child, she shouldn't be locked up, she too big, he went through it. And because of that, he said, well, go get her out, and we formulated a case and got her out.
You all had a little cool name and all that, the Justice League.
The Justice League. Yeah.
This is something special.
Justice League with the citizenship case. The Justice League did quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah. So he's leader of the woman then, leader of the people them, leader of the children them, leader of the baby them.
Pop star. Music video star.
Recording artist, leader of the Justice League. I mean, and I see him the other day, Casey, lying in state, and I said, Rodney looks like a man that has finally gotten the rest that he deserves. Like that is literally all I thought. Like he doesn't look tired. Like he looks well rested, and that's amazing. As I see him there.
I never took him to be tired. You know, he would portray what he needed to portray to get what he needed to get.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that few people have. Could you imagine he have somebody doing a case all the way to the Privy Council?
Yeah. Pro bono.
Yeah. You know, and there was a case with a fellow whose baby mother died after childbirth, and you know, I had to go get the man his child because Rodney said get the man his child.
Yeah. And so people ask me often, but you know, was Rodney sick? And I tell them, I said, I've known Rodney for 15 years, and I don't know Rodney to be well, quite honestly. Like, it was never a time in my knowing Rodney that something wasn't wrong with him. So for you to ask me in earnest if he was sick, I guess. But, you know, I mean, to see his demise so quickly, does it weigh on you any at all?
Well, I didn't manage to witness it myself like Mr. International did.
Yeah.
But Rodney was like the classic old person who something always wrong
Right,
with
something's
them.
always wrong.
So as I said at the memorial, when I met him and when we started to talk in earnest about maybe what that's with the DNA, how long ago that was now?
3 elections ago now, maybe?
Yeah, so about 50 years ago. He was dying from then, you know. I tell him, yes, you're dying every day.
Yeah.
Every day you live, you one day closer to your death. But now towards the end, I knew that he was more seriously sick. But you don't talk people business.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
We got to go to the break. Anyway, Wayne Monroe's with me. The spiritual advisor's with me. We're going to the break. We'll be right back. Don't move. You're listening to Freedom March. We're on 103.5 FM The Beat. IOTV Studios. We'll be back after this break.
This is powerful.
We on lockdown, just like before, Every other weekend, lockdown some more, Freedom March, Rodney Moncur, about to do his thing and address the country concerns. Lockdown, baby,
This is powerful.
lockdown, baby, with Rodney Moncur. Lockdown, baby.
This is powerful.
Lockdown, baby.
It's nothing new for it. In the mainland, there's been a research. We have to lock the country down. Cruise on the button, but not now. Problems in America. Keep the tourists out of town. Keep the hotels locked down. Cause COVID-19 don't mess around.
Lockdown, baby.
This is powerful.
Lockdown, baby, with Rodney Moncur. Lockdown, baby.
This is powerful.
Lockdown, baby.
Honest, come here. Don't you know it's lockdown time? Get out of here. Booyaka!
Ah, boy, Rodney Moncur. And you know, I've seen this video a couple of times, right? Casey, spiritual advisor. I know where Rodney lives. You know where Rodney lives.
That
ain't where Rodney lives.
No. And you know, I know I see Marcus Louis,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure out how come he wasn't in the video, spiritual.
I don't know. I can't remember where I would have been then.
You sure you wasn't
You
in
think
the
I was?
hospital?
You think I was still sick then?
He probably in the hospital. But
I may have been still sick.
so not just song, he got backup dancers, prop, because this is the house people live in, because the house got grocery. And
Yeah. No, but that's not his house.
I
That
know
I
it is his
know.
house.
That
And
I know.
if I'm not mistaken, at the time, Rodney's house was burnt down.
Yeah, no, because I remember him
Building his
billing
house.
it back, because I know he got some blocks from the prison. 'Cause
Correct.
every little negotiation,
Yeah.
he got a report on.
Yeah, and I remember that there were certain points through COVID that he would call and we would have secret meetings at the pump, right? And then I was like, I wonder if these are actual secret meetings or if this is just Rodney using me to kill the time, right? But one of the funniest things about him, because they asked us the other day, you know, what are the things we remember most about Rodney Moncur? And I tell them, I remember most about Rodney Moncur. That Rodney would call my phone like I worked for Rodney Moncur and Associates.
Yeah.
So he would call my phone. I would be doing whatever it is I would be doing, working. He'd say, God save the king. Yeah. I need you to go down by this place. There's a man there. He has a package. Tell him you've come to pick up the package, eh? And before you could respond, he would hang up the phone. It was like something off of like Batman in 1980. It's just like, I couldn't figure this. I said, this Rodney must think I don't know who he thinks I work for, but certainly it must be. I don't know if it would be Moncur and Associates, Rodney and Associates, but he certainly didn't think I had any other job. And so that has always been one of the things about him that, and funny enough, I would find myself doing it, right? Like I would be laughing, right? And confessing the whole time about, I don't know who Rodney think I am. No, but while I go and get it done, because it wasn't really a question. It wasn't even a suggestion. It was actually just an instruction.
Yeah.
Go this place, do this thing, this man will do that thing. Okay, bye, click.
Oh, well, you were fortunate that he would have let you in his circle.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't send you to collect a package, and he always do like it's clandestine. It's just he needs you to do this for him, but he wouldn't trust you to do it. So that meant that he trusted you to do that. So it was a benefit to you that you were in that circle.
Of course, and you know it was Rodney Moncur that actually when I was trying to play what you call the thing, social activist and that kind of stuff. Rodney Moncur actually supplied my first set of placards, right?
Yeah.
Because we had the whole thing planned out, everybody ready to go. The one thing we don't have, no placards. So I go by Rodney Moncur's house where he lived on Market Street, and Rodney Moncur got more placards than he had in Chapter 1 bookstore.
Yeah. No, he'd call me every now and again. He accused me of having a small checkbook. I write him a check to go get more. I went with him once to the place in Chesapeake to get more placard, more stick, more Bahamian flag, because you always need Bahamian flag.
And he just got
and then he want to collect them up after the a demonstration for...
Yeah. That sounded like it.
Yeah.
And I remember we did the demonstration on Wolf Road, right? And so Clifford Scavala always says something that I find interesting. Clifford Scavala said they are powerful men, right? And we identified them because we put all these clips and buttons and patches on them so people can know that these are powerful men. And then there are men with power. And those men you cannot identify them. They don't have clips and buttons and ribbons. But those are the men that go into those little coffee shops and on those softball fields. And when they get up, 1,000 men will get up behind them and not even know the reason why. And I witnessed that with Rodney. I remember, I think the PLP under Mr. Christie then decided they were going to do the referendum. We were in the studio. Rodney Moncur said, "No, sir, I'm marching on the government." Mm-hmm. I thought this was a joke. So I called Mr. International. I say, "Boy, you heard me with Rodney." He said, "But you're going." I said, "Rodney said he going to go march up Wolf Road." Mm-hmm. I couldn't have imagined. And when I get up Wolf Road, Rodney got truck, trailer head, people in t-shirt. And I try to figure out, we was just in the studio. When did Rodney plan all of this? He didn't need to plan it. He would just call this, what he would call my men. I'm going to get my men on the phone and they're going to come and join me on the march. And before we knew it,
yeah, but he plans
up Wolf Road.
He plans it. Now, you may not know, but just as he called you to go get the package, he'd call someone else to arrange a truck, all of that. Mm-hmm. But on the referendum, we were back and forward on that because, you know, I represented the gaming houses. Yeah. And I made a bet with him. I told you they will not close. Take that from me.
Yeah.
And he told me I'm not the Prime Minister. And I told him I don't have to be the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
You just have to have a strategy, a plan, and you have to know what the available recourses are. Yeah. And then after that, then he started to instruct that we do things for purposes that he found, because he never got over that one. He never got over that one. I told him the courts are there to be used, and anyone can use them. And yes, it's a matter of quite often you need to have a lawyer with acumen and ability. Mm-hmm. And then his thing was, well, since you show me you could do this, I can make you do it. I can make you do. I can make you do. I can make you do some things for poor people. Yeah, that's what he did.
If Rodney existed in a time though when people articled, I mean, you think he stood a chance articling as a lawyer?
Yeah, definitely. You know, a lot of the times, like when I got the decision, I'd just send it to him, and he would read it and he would understand it. And if he didn't understand something, he would call and we would have discussions. And now and again, he would put a legal proposition to me that might not have occurred to me, and it mightn't be stated exactly as you have to present it. And once you clean it up, once you add to it, then yes, you advance it. Like with the case, when I did the case for his friend Dakanal Pierre, the one with the baby mother who died, he says, okay, they say they want to show that he's the baby daddy. So the baby have a daddy. Right. And then he said to me, Monroe, if they do a test, after the test, the baby mightn't have a daddy. And he said, could I make that submission to the judge? Right. And that sounds silly, right? But that was the basis of my submission, that didn't require him to have a DNA test. Yeah.
So well, the baby got a daddy now.
The baby has a daddy now.
Yeah, but if you take the DNA test.
See, you have a test if two men say there's the baby daddy. Right. But if only one man saying he's the baby daddy, then exactly, if that ain't the baby daddy and you have a test, that baby started out with a daddy.
Right, now the baby daddy list. And we cannot create that as the court.
Now, and he said that, and it sounds very, very silly. Yeah. But there's law that you can dress around that and make a sensible submission.
Because no one is contesting on the opposite side for the baby.
Well, there's a presumption of there's a presumption of paternity because the mother before she died said this is the daddy.
Right, and I imagine he signed that in an affidavit.
And he said, no, not in an affidavit. Okay. The mother accused him of being the daddy.
Okay.
He accepted the accusation, so there's a presumption. Okay. If there was another man saying, no, I'm the daddy. Right. Then you could have a test to test that the correctness of it.
Okay, but there was no need to test because
there was nobody competing for it.
And if we test it, we might lose this case because the baby may no longer have a daddy. Rodney Moncur.
That was his submission, that we were able to dress up, and actually, I think that was Justice Winder as well, I believe.
Were you there with him when he went to the magistrate's court for, what was he arrested for? For leaking the photos of the
$150 fine.
No, I think
He represented
that was actually one of his most prominent. But if I remember correctly, that was actually one of his most prominent interactions with the legal system. Certainly very televised. I remember it coming. Where was I? What year was that? I think I was still in service. But I remember looking on TV and saying, "This man is going crazy.
They can kill me. They can kill me. Mark my words.
Mark my words."
But
They can kill me.
The joke we had was, he did that. I represented the police officers.
Okay.
Who faced the coroner's inquest over that death. I successfully represented them, and we had conversations over that. And at the end, I told them I could get him some money for being locked up, and that was the trade-off that we were supposed to do. Since I represented the officers, now I needed to go
so
get him some money.
So you're saying that Rodney Moncur always wanted the poor to be looked after, even if the poor person was him?
Well, actually, that was the case. He never pushed strongly. You know, he came up with a lot of other things for me to do for other people.
Okay.
When if he was a selfish man, he would have said, Monroe, finish this.
Yeah.
But every time we get ready to move forward, something else would come up that he would judge to be more important than his own case.
I found that to be the truth about it.
Yeah.
Usually when he calls me about a thing, it's about a person that's not him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually would tell him, I say, Rodney, you know, my good graces are for you. You don't get to volunteer them out to other people.
But he did.
He didn't care about that. He didn't care about any of that at all. Special advisor, what is this?
We got a couple birthday greetings.
Okay, you want to do those?
And then, of course, we got a gift for everyone who listens to Freedom March.
Now, let me
we
tell
have
you.
a very special announcement for you today.
Let me tell you what I don't want. I don't want y'all to cost me to get stampede. So we got to figure out a plan for those very special people to get their
they have it right here. They have the plan right here.
Praise the Lord.
But producer, you know what they need to do for me? Because we need to laugh today. There's a video with Rodney and the Minister of National Security and me when Rodney was talking about, and as they looked towards his pants, they saw a big bulge.
A bulge, yeah.
Yeah, man, listen, that's a classic. If you get that when we finish doing this here, we could get a good laugh today. So we got some birthdays?
Sure.
All right, so
birthdays.
Delicia Bow is celebrating birthday. Happy 22nd birthday to Delicia Bow. It's coming from your father, Delmar, your mother, Raquel, your sisters, Destiny and Divinity, and the entire Bow family. May God continue to bless you with many more birthdays to come. We love you. Happy birthday to Delicia Bow. Marilyn Simonet. We have a special birthday shout out to Marilyn Simonet. Birthday to this beautiful, lovely, caring lady, Marilyn Simonet. May God's richest blessing rest upon you. Coming in from your husband, Warren Simonet. Let me see something. Coming in from your husband, Warren Simonet.
And
by her
she is
daughter.
Beautiful, lovely, and caring. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, she is beautiful. Why didn't we look up a long time?
You mean as my wife?
She is beautiful. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. But by her daughter, I think is what it's saying. Janteria, her son, Juan Jr., and her two granddaughters, Summer and Jay.
This woman have got grandchildren? No.
Let me see.
Can't be. They must be a niece and nephew.
By her daughter, Janteria, her son, Juan Jr., and her two granddaughters, Summer and Jael.
Okay.
Also her sisters and brothers and the family of Fountain of Life Kingdom Ministries here in Roxtown, Lutra.
I want to say, Grammys didn't look like this when I was a grandchild.
Oh no, Grammys would be like 20-something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's standard. We love you, Minister and First Lady. Have a happy birthday. Okay. A voice for the people. A legacy that lives on. Island Luck, in partnership with ILTV Studios, proudly presents commemorative Rodney Moncur shirts. A tribute to the fearless host of Freedom March and a champion of the people. We're giving them away free.
Free.
To our loyal listeners while the supplies last. Now that's very important now. Island Luck, in partnership with ILTV Studios, proudly presents commemorative Rodney Moncur shirts, a tribute to the fearless host of Freedom March and a champion of the people. We're giving them away free To our loyal listeners, while supplies last, 1 shirt per person. First come, first serve.
All right.
To get yours, stop by the ILTV studio starting from tomorrow. Our operating hours are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
Honor the legacy. Wear the shirt. Brought to you by Island Luck. Remember, this is very important. Island Luck is giving away these shirts free to our loyal listeners while supplies last. It's 1 shirt per person. 1 shirt per person. First come, first serve. Now to get yours, you have to stop by the ILTV studios starting from tomorrow. And the operating hours to pick up these t-shirts are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Honor the legacy, wear the message, brought to you by Island Luck. And we have it right here. Oh, you were showing it, a producer.
Yeah.
Now, I believe one of these shirts is for the Minister of National Security.
Okay. Let me
Minister,
send one shout out.
Minister, this is too big for you?
That look like his size.
This may be too big for you, eh?
That look like his size. What size is it? Just look at the size.
You're trying to say I'm big and fat?
No.
No, he said, but you recovered well since COVID.
Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this. Wow. This is lovely.
Actually extra large, so that's
Thank
probably
you,
a little bit too big for me.
Island Luck
anyway.
and Sebastian for your
Say it again.
generous contribution. Wow. How do I do this?
Now you're starting to sound like sore fans now.
Wow,
Cause
this is beautiful.
only sore fans them has believed that the JD size is a size too big. You say this extra large is a size too big for you?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
He probably need a large.
Yeah.
I just wear a large.
Okay. Well, you and the minister look the same size.
I want you to, that's your last lie in here today, man.
Yeah, you look
That's
the same
your
size.
last
yeah,
lie in
my
here
size.
today.
No?
My shoulder's broader than
But
this.
where you get these glasses from?
Huh?
Take them back.
I get these from Soft
Take
Fans.
them back.
I get these from Soft
bring
Fans.
them Oh boy. So I have a shout out I want to send. I want to send a special shout out to Redhead. She listens to the show every day. She's been my friend for, Jesus, how long has it been? I don't know, maybe 25 years now. But she tell me, I just listen to you every day. So Redhead, special shout out to you, all right? But, so I'm spiritual advisor, I see 1 shade, 2 shade. Now hold on now.
Don't worry.
I'm from the inner city.
We have a lot of shirts.
Okay.
So you're not going to...
I'm from the inner city.
You're not going to run out. So let me just read this one more time again, just in case. Okay, so there's your shirt there.
All right, good. But my guy can see it.
A voice for the people, a legacy that lives on. Island Luck, in partnership with ILTV Studios, proudly presents commemorative Rodney Moncur shirts, a tribute to the fellow Souls of Freedom March and the champion of the people. We're giving them away free to our loyal listeners while supplies last. It's 1 shirt per person. It's on a first come, first serve basis. And to get these shirts, you have to come by the ILTV Studios starting from tomorrow. Our operating hours are Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Honor the legacy, wear the message, brought to you by Island Luck. And so the studio is located here on University Boulevard, and we're right next door to the 6-legged roundabout, just adjacent to the On the Run.
So are we next door?
We're adjacent.
On the run next door to the 6-leg roundabout.
Right, so...
And we next door to
So On the Run is right at the 6-legged roundabout. So we're just...
See how the
we're just east. What do we know?
Hold on, stop. You can't... Spiritual advisor, you can't say things like east, west, north, and south when you're talking to the Bahamians.
So north,
listen,
south.
Let me give the direction.
East,
when you
west.
get on the 6-leg roundabout, you come straight around.
Oh, come on.
I tell you how
You think they understand that?
You tell them about north and south and east and west,
And he get that wrong.
and you
too.
see people who end up in Delaport. That's not this way.
No, so we're east of the gas station.
If you took the 6-leg roundabout coming towards this building,
So
you'd
we're
be
not.
heading north.
Okay, so we're heading north.
Yes.
It changes. Somewhat.
I know that road there is northwest.
Yeah, people don't take
This
it.
road here is north.
And I tell you, it changes slightly.
Yeah, but people don't take directions
Don't,
like that.
I don't know what you're doing, all this north and east.
Okay.
And, hey, listen to me. Don't listen to him no more. Come off of Milo Butler. Keep coming straight. You can see the roundabout. When you get to the roundabout, come all the way around the roundabout.
Yeah.
And then, when you pass the gas station, come straight again. We could be the second building on the left-hand side, it orange. That's how you get Bahamians directions. I keep trying to teach you these things.
I think this building is peach.
That
No,
peach?
no, not peach. Coral.
See, you're doing all kind of
You say orange. I don't think this building ain't orange.
People
sorry,
you
because
know, any Bahamian, if they go looking for coral, they go look for something tan. They go look for something like coral.
the building is coral, yeah?
Don't
let
listen
us
to
lie
this
fool
man.
you with orange.
All right.
But you can't miss it. You're going to see a huge
Now
screen.
you sound like you're giving
You get
Bahamian
one
direction.
big fat screen, and you can see Rodney picture on it. You can't miss it.
That's
right
how
there.
you give the coral.
Yeah,
If
coral.
people can look for something that look whitish,
Yeah.
they say coral look white. So the color coral look like how coral look.
Spiritual advisor will have these people up by sampling motors practicing foolishness.
Look for one big fat screen. You can see one. It looks like at least 8 feet, 9 feet.
You had the definition right the
A
first
big
time.
fat screen. And you can see Rodney picture on it. It's right there.
And then you got to say at the end, you can't miss it.
All right.
That's how you give
You have to communicate.
Yeah.
A
You
big,
were the
big
north,
part of what he was able to do is communicate.
north and east and west and south. And
you gotta communicate.
yeah.
You got the video? Let's play this video.
You got your video?
The Minister of National Security was live in studio that day. I don't know if he laughed, but man, I couldn't catch myself.
He was a cabinet minister in Pinling's government, and he assumed that by virtue of him being a minister, he had diplomatic immunity. But when Carlton Francis landed in the United States, they ignored that he came from a sovereign nation. And when they looked towards his pants, they saw a long bulge. You say, only me can tell y'all, because I got good memory. It was as if they saw this in his pants. It's something to laugh at. And the Americans seeing a black man with such a long thing in his pants, they proceeded to search him and to hold on to it. But it was reported
that it was Bosun. Rodney Moncur, boy.
For the old time's sake,
it is.
He will be missed. Make no mistake about it.
How do you think he has such good recall of these?
He had a photographic memory.
Some of it, to listen to Papa and other people, some of it was 100% accurate.
Yeah. And the rest
some
of it
some of it was less accurate, but none of it was purposely untrue.
Okay, all right.
Let's put it like that. None of it was purposely untrue.
Here's something I think he enjoyed that I don't think anyone that follows him will enjoy as much as that. It is people's ability to forgive him. Like, there are some people I think in public life that enjoy that. One of the people I accuse of enjoying that as well is Mr. Christie, right? Like, you are only mad at Perry Christie until you see him. And then you see him, and you just ain't mad at him no more, right? And so he could do anything.
What would he do to make you mad?
But I think Rodney was kind of like that. Like, Rodney would say things that you would hear people say, oh, wait till I see that Rodney Moncur. And then I would go places with him, and we would see the same people that he just finished casting out. And when they say, Moncur, you think I this? He say, forgive me. This is when he turned 60. I 60. Mm-hmm. And somehow that was like his get out of jail free card. And people would no longer be upset with Rodney Moncur. And sometimes I would be unfair, right? Because, you know, I'm the younger one here. I imagine that if there's any defending to do, people would assume that I would volunteer Mr. International because I older than him. Yeah. And they say, you don't need to outrun the dog, you just need to outrun the man. Outrun the man, the dog chasing you with, right? But how did, if you had to sum Rodney in one word.
He just say sorry. He learned the trick that some people have to learn. To be forgiven, all you gotta say is sorry.
I'm sorry for that. Boy. Anyway, you hear the jingle. That means we're going to the break. Wayne Monroe, Minister of National Security, joined us as spiritual advisors here with me. I'm Levan Miller. We're on 103.5 FM, The Beat. We're on channel 224 and on channel 112 and on ILTV Studios, and we will be right back after this.
whenever Negro citizens come before you who are very huge, not stop laughing. Right?
Let me hear this reason. let me hear the submission now. Let me hear the submission. See if I can. Let me hear if I can use this. I have a large client.
Yeah. When I saw the lady, I became emotional because she reminded me of my dear wife, who's a huge citizen. I think a woman who is breathing hard and is extremely huge should not be sentenced to prison, because that itself is very stressful for her and for the system. Certainly, Your Worship, and I'm not trying to be in contempt of your court, certainly, Your Worship, that was a big fat woman, and that is not the proper way. I think you could have given her community center. Service, right? I think you could have. But as I saw that woman, hardly could breathe. And then the police is anti-woman. I want the police to stop it. Citizens who you know can't escape.
Now, this is a submission that could get us some money. There's a case that says that you only may use as much restraint as necessary.
Right. That woman can't run away.
No, I was told, my staff at my office tell me that you wouldn't like to see her dancing on her head.
Well, I know she could dance. As soon as I see her, she reminded me of a Negro woman I used to dance with named Car Wash.
That's her.
That's Car Wash?
Yeah.
That's Car Wash?
Yeah, that's it now.
Get Car Wash out of prison. That's Car Wash?
Yeah, that's her.
I love Car Wash.
Yeah, I thought you know that's what it was all along.
That's Car Wash?
Yes, it's her.
Monroe.
She gone for 3 months, man.
No, we're going to spring her out.
Okay.
Could you appeal it?
To the commissioner?
You can't appeal it now, eh?
Sorry?
Yeah.
You can appeal it?
I'll have to find out.
She pleaded guilty. Having pleaded guilty and not wasted the court
So you
time,
can't appeal it
Monroe
then?
has taught me that all of that ought to have been taken into consideration. That's Car Wash?
Yeah.
I don't recognize her dress.
What you recognize?
When she's wearing pants.
Okay.
That's Car Wash?
Yeah.
Yes,
No wonder I felt something in my heart. Monroe,
Yes,
how much it costs?
Well, you know, I do things for you
No,
free,
we
brother Moncur.
got to spring Car Wash out. To the prison, I'm going to spring Car Wash out.
Okay,
That's Car Wash?
Oh boy, the one and only.
But you know, my junior from that case, Rosario, says Car Wash has returned to the country for the funeral.
I'm advised of the same,
Yes,
that she is in the jurisdiction right in time.
For the funeral.
For the funeral.
Oh, she's coming here for the funeral?
Yes.
Oh boy, that's something special.
Okay, great.
So I looked to see her tomorrow.
And as he asked, we sprung her.
I remember that,
Yeah,
and I contend that it was a really big spring.
Yeah.
Then it would have to be. So we're going to open the lines, right?
Yeah, the lines are
You
open.
want to talk about Rodney? Give
Give
your
the
final
people the numbers.
farewell or your final wishes or your final condolences. The numbers are 323-7775, 698-0775.
And I'm very happy you all used the door because the prison got small window.
Yeah, 692 get jamming, that's for sure. 698-0776. So we're going to use the reminder of the show to send condolences to Mr. Moncur's family, and of course to say special thanks to the Adam Luck family for their gifts to you, avid listeners. We have T-shirts that are going to be here for you tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
You know, I think spiritual, it has to be said. Some people say all kind of stuff about Sebastian, right? But when Brother Moncur got ill,
Yeah.
and it was clear Sebastian stepped up.
Yep. And took care of everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding that he took care of some things for the funeral arrangements as well. So he's a good man.
Yes.
But Sebastian, I want to say
Even though Rodney got him
I want to give you some spiritual advice.
Just casing him out for the Wakers, which was misunderstood, and when Sebastian explained it, He just say sorry.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm going to give you some spiritual advice, Abbas. This is what you pay me for.
Wow.
In the words of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Jesus says, it's more blessed to give than to receive. And you're doing just that.
Amen.
So you're being blessed when you give. And that's the best spiritual advice I could give you.
Amen.
Well, one of the best.
That's why they're giving the shirts away free. And
Yeah,
not selling
yeah,
them.
yeah. So the lines are open, 323-7775, 698-0775, 698. Okay. Who's on? Tanya?
Oh, let's
hello,
go to Tanya. Hey, Tanya.
Good afternoon, Mr. Millen. Good afternoon, spiritual advisor. It's your girl Tanya coming to you live from Shop Smart Department Store, your miracle, right here at number 122 Marquis Street, where we say we're here for you for whatever season of your life and for everyday living. We are celebrating the graduates, Bahamas. Yes, you can come on in to Shop Smart, your miracle here on Marquis, and get yourself 30% off everything we have for graduations. I'm talking about picture frames, teddy bears, decor. I am talking about all of these nice inspirational pieces that we have here at Shop Smart, where you can choose your own part. You can be the best version of yourself. You can have your teddy bear singing and dancing. You've got the mugs here where you've got this all inspirational items for the graduates. Come on down, whether you're looking for something for primary school, preschool, or you're looking for something for university. Shop Smart has got you covered with everything 30% off for the graduates. Come into Shop Smart, the home of the smart shopper. We're open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. for your shopping convenience. Or you can shop with us 24/7. Just visit our website. That is www.shopsmart242.com. And we deliver to the boat of your choice, or right here in Nassau to your place of business, or to your home. Shop Smart is here for you for whatever season of your life. And like I always say, remember to shop early, to shop often, and to shop smart.
All right. Welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you very much, Tanya at Shop Smart. The phone lines are open.
We got 3 callers away now.
3 callers away. Well, let's go to the phone lines.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Hello.
Hi.
You're live, caller.
Hi, good afternoon, spiritual advisor, Mr. Miller, Mr. Monroe.
Good afternoon.
Calling to give my sympathy to Mr. Rodney's family, my leader. I'm one of the women's there.
Wow.
Okay, with that being said, spiritual advisor,
Yes, ma'am.
I rushed there to get my shirt. And when I got into the lobby, the lady said, we just received them and we haven't sorted them out as yet. So you'll have to come back tomorrow. I said, that's not what they said on the radio. I'm going to tell them to adjust the time now.
I did say tomorrow.
You just said it when I was in the studio.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
But we didn't have the T-shirt before that, eh?
But guess what I did, though? I mean, I read the time that they're to be collected, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's see. It says, see? No.
I was there.
1 second, please. It says, to get yours.
Let's say first come, first serve.
Right.
But
Yes,
you did say from what day.
It says,
tomorrow.
to get yours, stop by the ILTV studio starting tomorrow. Our operating hours are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I did say there were some very specifics in this announcement that you had to pay attention to.
I didn't say that, spiritual advisor. What I'm saying is when you announced it first, I was in traffic in front of the studio.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, this is an easy one to fix. All you have to do is don't leave.
Well, I left, as the lady said. You have to come back tomorrow.
Because listen, first come, first serve. If you sleep here tonight, guarantee no one could beat you here tomorrow.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Producer, let me do this again, please. Let me do this. Let me read this. Let me read this
Spiritual?
for the last time.
Spiritual. It's simple. Come
Tomorrow
to the
morning.
studio
Tomorrow morning.
So please, so don't confuse it now.
First serve.
Oh yeah, 1 T-shirt per person. First come, first
That
serve.
just shows the urgency with which the caller was looking for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to come tomorrow.
tomorrow.
To get yours, stop by the ILTV studio starting tomorrow.
Indeed.
Our operating hours are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Honor the legacy, wear the message, brought to you by Island Lock. Welcome to Freedom March, caller. You're live. Are you there, caller?
Hello.
You're live, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, gentlemen, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
The lady was in traffic. She heard about the T-shirt, but when she heard free, the car automatically just turned in that yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I want to say, I want to send condolences out to Miss Jeannie, the wife of Brother Moncur. Also, his brother, what happens to be my brother, Terrence Ferguson in Grand Bahama. So sad he can't make it because he has the weather works with his back. And he had slipped down on the job, so he can't travel in cool and rainy weather.
Okay.
They're having some bad weather in Grand Bahama.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Me and him has the same mother, and him and Rodney Moncur has the same father.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
So Rodney partly grew me up. But Mr. Monroe.
Yes, sir.
I haven't heard you saying much about the lady over by the fish fry. I didn't hear her name mentioned much and nothing with Brother Moncur. What's your name, Trini?
Yeah, well, true, you know, Brother, that's another story in Spiritual Anecdotes. Brother Moncur started coming out for soup.
Right, that's how it all started.
And then he decided that he would have a snapper too. And then the good thing about him that I could say about him, if he was getting something for himself,
Yeah.
he always gets something for Gina
Yeah,
too.
he always takes something.
Yeah.
But listen to me in closing.
After about 2 weeks, he used to come with one of those reusable shopping bags to get his okra soup.
Yeah.
He'll have one there, he'll take two, one for him, one for Gina, and 2 snappers.
But in closing, brother Miller.
Hey.
When you have your official launching of the overtaking of the women them, I think that'll be the ideal place to have your function for who all want to sign up under your new leadership.
Well, you know something? I'm going to put you in charge of the committee.
I want to be in charge of PR. I'll be your PR man.
I was going to put you in charge of research and redevelopment.
No, well, there ain't much to research. Once wanted the woman, them always wanted the woman, them.
Okay.
Once wanted the man, them always wanted the man, them.
But why you want to put this kind of burden on Brother Miller?
Come out.
You know what it is to try to follow Brother Moncur's leader and the woman them and the children them.
He has to bring his own shoe. Brother Moncur's shoes can't be fit.
Hey, caller, so let me tell you what I've done. Right? Because I realized that Rodney had a big cross to carry. As interim leader of the Woman Dem, I have immediately appointed Mr. International as chairman of the Woman Dem.
And you was a Baptist minister, you throw that low round far.
So he's chairman of the Woman Dem with responsibility, with direct and immediate responsibility over all the older women Dem.
Oh, he in charge of the older women, you in charge of the younger women.
That is correct.
We got
but
some
he's
other
older
calls.
than you are?
We got some
no,
other
he's
calls
younger than
waiting.
me, so I want him to keep the old woman Dem sprightly.
I gotta hang up and continue listening.
Yeah,
you
got some other calls
All right,
waiting.
caller.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to Freedom March, caller. You're live. Are you there, caller? Sorry for having you waiting. Let's get another call. Welcome to Freedom March, caller. You're live.
Hey.
Spiritual advisor?
Yes, sir?
I left something there for you today. Did you receive it?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. This is a street in...
that is Society Road, Floridale Avenue.
Right. Are these cars belong to a mechanic shop in that area?
That young man started to protrude out of his yard through the neighborhood. I've been talking to Ministry of Health for the last 3 or 4 years.
Really?
I talked to Vaughn Miller, and that's Vaughn Miller constituency. I trying to figure out if these people are doing their job what they getting paid for.
Wow.
And ask Mr. Monroe if they prosecuting these people who doing these things. Because it looks like everybody playing a blind eye to these things.
Well, I can assure you that people are being served if this is...
3-4, you got to show me a 3-4 years ago me complaining and nothing is done?
Wow.
Well, these vehicles don't look 3 to 4 years old that I'm looking at.
Vaughn Miller is the Minister of Environmental Health. I sit down with him quite silly and tell him about this.
Yeah, and they'll have to send an inspector out to mark them to say move them or they will
it
be
takes you
moved in
4
14
years to send
days.
a check. Been there, people been there, and put the stickers on the car. The man take the stickers off and put on my gate.
Oh, wow.
But I'm looking at these vehicles, caller. The two in the right-hand side, they look less than 4 years old. And if somebody continually cycles vehicles in and out, that's a
The man is supposed to have no garage in a residential area.
Yeah, well, that is a different issue from having the vehicles.
Environmental health.
Right. Those are two separate issues. Similar but different. You understand the point? So what would have to happen is
the for sale sign. He moved for sale sign to operate what he's doing now.
So I'm saying to you, so maybe you've been going through the wrong channel of the government. The government is a creature with more than one tentacle. Right.
How you all can help this problem?
But you just bring your problem to us today. You got to give us a chance.
Yeah, we'll deal with that. I have some folks who I can turn this over to.
Yeah.
We could deal with that.
What you can do is go curse on all the other people you've been talking to for 4 years. I see this document today. It might be 40 minutes now I've seen this document. You got to give me a chance to look at it.
The first time I drop off pictures there.
Beloved, you drop it to leave one?
You wasn't over around.
Well, that's my exact point. I know your problem for 40 minutes.
Mr. Brown cousin.
So you got to give me a chance.
I know
who Mr. Brown cousin you is.
I know.
You Miller.
I got a cousin as a Mr. Brown?
Toriano Brown.
That's my mommy nephew.
Yeah, he's some family to you.
Allegedly.
In any event, you tested Miller.
I don't want no one tell me to do nothing. I want it
you're tested Miller. Miller will show what he does.
Yeah, give us chance. All right, I'll get back to that. And when you see it happen, you make sure you call here. You can hang up on them with the same amount of fervor and tell the people we fix it. And all it take you was 40 minutes and rowing me out on the TV. Next caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Yes.
Hi.
Good afternoon to the spiritual advisor, you, Mr. Levi Miller, and Minister Monroe.
Berenice
God's
Johnson.
blessings to one and all, to Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Holy Spirit enveloping us. Berenice Johnson, the original. You all know, Mr. Moncur used to say, hang up on that Negro woman, she from SID. Well, I already gave condolences, but I'm only here to extend to you, Minister, so that the Prime Minister, who has been ushered in for a time such as now, Philip Edward Brave Davis, shall have access to the monies, because I tried when it was in 2008. We have finances to access, reference to the ADT. Okay, it's assured, and our police officers can be dealt with right away. Any outstanding monies, I can assure you in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Okay,
Bernice,
come this way. Thank you. Let's take another call. 323-7775. 6980775. Minister, while I have you here, I don't want the people to case me out, so I have to say what they said to me. The people said that at some point you got it sorted out, but at some point it looked like it slipped from you again.
What's that?
Do you have any word for police reservists?
I'm not the commissioner of police.
Well,
they do not earn salaries. They know this. When they're enrolled, they know this.
Right.
They know that they have to be signed in.
Right.
And sometimes they say it's insulting because they're an reserve inspector and they're being signed in by a constable.
Correct.
They know that their time sheets have to be compiled.
Correct. And
they know it has to go to the reserve office. They know it has to go from the reserve office to their pay office.
Pay office.
They're police officers.
All right. Okay,
and that takes 3 months.
None of them are owed 3 months' pay. They don't earn salaries. So a regular policeman, government payday,
will be paid.
No, the money goes there. You know the funny thing that I learned in the government? They put your money there. And if they realize they shouldn't have paid you for a week, you now owe them a week. And they have to recover their money. But they never have to recover money from reservists because they have to be checked off and it has to be processed.
Okay.
You all hear that?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
They know it.
All right, let's take another one. Welcome to Freedom March.
Welcome to Freedom March, caller. You're live. Caller, you there? All right, let's get another call. Welcome to Freedom March, caller. You're live.
You gentlemen?
Yes,
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Great.
You?
Doing great.
Good.
Yes, sympathy to the family.
Yes, ma'am.
On the loss of Mr. Moncur. He'll be sadly missed.
No doubt.
Mr. Roll?
Yes, ma'am.
I was calling to ask you about T-shirts. Because I'm reliving before.
Sorry?
They live in Freeport and they want to know what are we going to do about T-shirts.
Do we get shirt?
I don't know. I'll have to answer that question maybe tomorrow.
This is why I think we need a helicopter, Minister. That's why we have to buy a helicopter. Imagine if we had a helicopter, we could have deemed this a national emergency, and we could have jumped in the helicopter and take the T-shirts to the Freeport today in the helicopter.
You couldn't put them in a plane and fly them there.
I want to ask you about clips with the Moncur. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Keep going.
I was asking you about that clip with the Moncur when he had on that big soprano hat, Mexican hat.
Yeah, Buenos Dias.
Yeah. Could you play that clip somewhere along the line in the show?
We have it. As a matter of fact, we can go to it as soon as the producer pull it. You got a producer? All right.
Thank you.
The inheritor.
Thank you.
Médico. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Me llamo Rodney Moncur. And I don't like what Menace is doing. And I say, Buenos Dias! Buenos Dias! Buenos Dias, amigo. Buenos Dias. And that is what is going on in this country. Because here we are, the inheritor.
Rodney Moncur. I told them I'm going to petition the king to make the name Rodney Moncur a new accepted adjective into the English dictionary.
But listen, all you have to do is use it. You know, there's a new thing now, like when Ramaphosa went to the Oval Office, they say he was afraid he would be Z'd.
Yeah.
They now turned what Trump did to Zelensky.
Yeah.
They call it now that's Zing somebody.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
But
so you can create.
Is it like how Lil Wayne created the word bling in the English?
Yeah, you can create any word.
Yeah.
But better than that, we're going to petition the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works. Is it possible to get either a street or a subdivision in Rodney's honor?
Now you're making the Minister of National Security compromise because they think we can concoct this while we're on the break. You must have wait till he leaves so they don't know we can
the wind just told me that.
The wind tell you that?
Yeah, the wind tell me that.
Once the wind tell it to you.
No, but what you would do and what happens with that is you would look, let's say, Black Village is this area. You would look in Black Village, see the names of any street. So, for instance, in Freetown, there's a street called Obe Alley that runs in front of our graveyard, that's St. Margaret's graveyard. Well, it's not desirable for a street to be named Obe Alley.
Right.
So it should be easy to change the name of that street.
Okay.
So you'd go in Black Village, you would look at maybe the street his house is on, what's the name?
Yeah.
If it does not have any significant name that would offend anybody to change, then you just consult the people.
Yeah.
Have a meeting and say, do you mind us changing the name of this road to
Rodney Moncur Street?
Hold on now, because that puts one thought in my mind. Who is Wolf? And who he married to?
Wolf Road?
People.
Yeah, who is Wolf?
Wolf Road.
I never meet a wolf in my life.
Spelled WLF.
No, I've never, ever.
You go in the Senate and look at them old people. them old white man.
They children still living?
And you would probably find both somewhere.
Sorry.
Let's go to some more.
Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Spiritual advisor, Minister Monroe and Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to extend my condolences to the family of Mr. Moncur, especially his wife, Gina.
Yes, ma'am.
I know, spiritual advisor, on a few occasions you and I would have buck heads when I would call Mr. Miller's show, Mr. Moncur's show, and he was always a very accommodating person, and he will be truly missed. So I'd just like to extend condolences to the family, and may his soul rest in peace and rise in glory.
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
All right,
Hi, Auntie. I know that voice. That's my Auntie.
That's the lady from Marathon.
Mister, I say that's my granddaddy got 18 children, and the next one got 29 children. How you know which Auntie it is?
That's the one from Marathon. That's the King lady.
My granddaddy got 18 children, and the next one got 29. How you know which Auntie it is?
Let's take the next girl. I know that woman.
This
welcome to Freedom March. Welcome to Freedom March Call. You're live. Hey, there, caller.
323-7775.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. Good afternoon, Mr.
Monroe.
Advisor and Minister. Good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Yes, I was calling again to give condolences, but I mean, it was so humorous this afternoon to see you all playing a lot of Mr. Moncur video, and just to look at him today we just say he looks like he's sleeping.
Absolutely.
And I can recall him really, I had a court case with some property in Supreme Court. And he was he represented himself. And he was, I mean, just awesome. So we are so saddened of his passing today. And I'm one of the women them. So we just let him rest in peace. And we just wish he could wake up. But we pray that this show will go on in his honor. And good afternoon to you, gentlemen. You all continue to do a good job.
Yes, Thank you very much. Producer, put that picture back up for me, please. I saw this picture today from the Senate, and I told the person that I was with when I saw this picture, I said, I almost didn't recognize the Minister Pia Glover role there, and so I want to make her patron saint of the woman there, because, I mean, look at her. She just looks like the perfect replica. You can see a glow light coming off her. Anyway, Minister Monroe, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
We appreciate you being here with us. Spiritual advisor.
The funeral is tomorrow.
I'll see you at the funeral tomorrow.
Absolutely.
The funeral is tomorrow at 11 at St. Francis Cathedral for the late, great Rodney Moncur. Until next time, we'll see you right back here on Freedom March.